this is comment.co.uk. This is the page you get to if you try and buy an iPad. So you go along, you put an iPad in your basket, then you go to try and check out, and look, below, suddenly something's appeared there that you haven't put in. You've got an iPad case there for 30 quid that's just appeared out of nowhere. Now, what they're doing is they're arguing that they're doing it in your interest. It's to protect your iPad from bumps and scratches, which is a nice idea, but if they really cared, they'd put it in there for free. Well, I mean, it's the same design pattern that we looked at before, but in this case, it's clearly quite naughty. So is this ethical? I'd argue not at all. It's actually very sneaky. They're putting something into your basket without asking your permission. They're just sneaking it in there. So these kind of design patterns, I mean, probably most kinds of dark patterns focus on two sort of slices of the pie. So of the people who pass through that page, a certain percentage will, firstly, simply not notice what's happened and make the purchase anyway, and never be any wiser. They might unpack the stuff and then think it just came with it and never look at the receipt and realise they've been charged more. And then there'll be another percentage who do notice after completing the purchase, but by that time they're too busy to do anything about it, or they might be too lazy or simply too busy at that point. So they kind of, you can imagine unpacking your new iPad, looking at the case that's come with it, then realising how much that it's cost you 30 quid more. So do you then repackage it all and send it back, or do you say, oh, is it really worth the effort? You have to weigh up your effort versus the time. And so dark pattern designers take advantage of these two slices of pie. And admittedly, they're not big slices, but there's money in them. So and that's what it's all about. Let's look at a different example now. Let's look at the page you get to from, if you visit the Wired magazine website in the UK and you want to set up payment for having it posted to your home, this is the page you get to. So if you want a year's worth of subscription. So it's a fairly standard, boring-looking form. You've got to fill in your address and so on. And at the bottom, there's the marketing options. Now, let's not forget the marketing options have a cash value with them. You know, if you opt into third-party marketing, then they will just sell your details on, right? So what does Condé Nast do to try and get as many people as possible to sign up? Well, it's a bit like if you want to opt out, it's a bit like a dance. You have to go skip, skip, tick, tick, skip, skip, tick, tick. And if you get a foot wrong on any of those, you'll end up opting into something. And if it's third party sort of by phone or by post, there might be a number of companies who you have to then tell to stop doing it. It's a load of hassle, right? So it's probably likely that they've actually A/B tested this area and they've found out that this is the design that works the best. It delivers the best conversion rates because most people end up opting in. Well, it's no surprise. It's downright trickery when you look at it like that, isn't it? Okay, so let's look at another example. This example really takes the biscuit, actually. The Evil Genius Award goes to Ryanair. I'm not sure if it surprises some of you, but let's look at this example. This is the insurance upsell page that Ryanair have. At the top of the page there, it says passenger details, that first box there at the top, okay? Now, we all know that people, when they're on the web, they normally scan read. They don't read every single word on every single page. And the design of this area here really takes advantage of that fact in a very nefarious way, okay? So firstly, there's the section title, which is passenger details. That sounds quite innocuous, doesn't it? It sounds like where you just fill in the details for your ticket. And if you get it wrong, they might not even let you get on the plane. So you want to fill it in right. But actually, it's the upsell area. So let's zoom in and have a better look at that. So a certain number of users are going to fill it in and then skip over all of the blurb and then just end up looking at that drop-down box there in the bottom right, which says, please select country of residence. Now, that sounds like an innocuous question, doesn't it? It's where you're from. But if you select your country of residence, you end up buying travel insurance. And in fact, if you don't want travel insurance, you have to open up the drop-down and then pick no travel insurance required, which is sandwiched between Latvia and Lithuania for some reason. It's not even alphabetical. It makes no sense at all. Why would it appear there? So, I mean, what's really clever about this is in the other examples we looked at, the opt-in had been defaulted, so you could see on the page what they were trying to do. But in this case, they're actually tricking the user to put it in their basket themselves. So probably from a legal point of view, they might be slightly better off, although obviously I'm not a lawyer, but kind of quite clever there. So no travel insurance required. What happens if you don't fill in that drop-down box at all? Let's have a look. So if you skip it and you get to an error condition when you try and submit the form, it'll say, instead of highlighting buy AXA travel insurance or highlighting the text below, all they do is highlight just this box here, right? Because they want as many people as possible to focus in on just that question because it sounds innocuous and they'll end up buying stuff that they didn't mean to.